talking about roughly a top 15 receiver in the country and top 15 player in the state of Georgia. Kevin, I will defer to you first in regards to your thoughts about Antwi.
Yeah, I think really for me the biggest surprise was just once Ohio State landed Caleb Brown, the four-star athlete out of Chicago who was tabbed to be a receiver. I wasn't necessarily saying that Ohio State wouldn't get a fourth receiver, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be Antwi. And Antwi had been mentioned potentially to UGA, to Texas A&M, but it never really went away. The conversations were there. Maybe we just weren't listening closely enough to them. And then all of a sudden, about a week ago, it started picking up some steam, and the Sewanee, Georgia receiver, just all of the future cast and rivals, all the crystal balls in 24/7 started to flip in that direction, and it's a huge pickup because if you sit there and you look at just what Ohio State has been getting in terms of receivers, I mean they've been checking off a lot of different boxes in terms of body types and whatnot, and I think that you sit there and you see maybe like Keon Grays and Caleb Burton and Antwi, and they're all in that 6'6" range. But like Burton's 162 right now, he'll play in the 180s. Keon Grays is $170. I think you'll see Kojo Antwi play, I don't know, mid 190s if I had to guess. But it certainly provides somebody else with a different skill set. And of course, the whole situation of how's Ohio State going to keep all these guys happy? But I can assure you it's going to be just tremendous watching the competition going in once these guys get in and you still have the 21s and the tail end of the 20s or whatnot. Just a really big commitment. I mean, maybe got lost in terms of the three commitments that have happened over the last week when you throw Terrence Brooks in there as well. Rivals has him as the number 161 player overall. But I think that if you look at most programs, maybe 120 of them, I mean, Kojo would come in and probably be their top-rated recruit. And with Ohio State, when you just get caught in the gravitational pull of JTT's commitment, it's just kind of, oh, well, that's nice. And, and that's where Ohio State recruiting is. Oh, that's nice.
I think it's impressive that they went into Georgia and got a Georgia receiver because that's, Georgia does really well with their receivers, and to go get a top 100 type of guy was a boon. I think that was the guy they pretty much had targeted once they got Caleb Brown. Or is it Caleb Brown? Is that right? The last guy in?
Caleb Brown. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and once they got him, and then it seemed like all of their focus Kojo was the last guy that they had really been looking at. So, I think what I like about him, he's strong, he's powerful. He's maybe only 6'1", but he's already like 190, and I tweeted out that he's reminds me of like a shooting guard who can give you power forward minutes, and that he can bully cornerbacks and he can break tackles, and he's probably the X of the class in a right wide receiver class where they don't have a standard 6'3" or 6'4" X, which I don't know that is really all that important to them now. You see guys like Garrett Wilson playing X in 2 of his 3 years at Ohio State, so you get a guy that can do a bit of everything, and that goes for Caleb Burton, Keon Grays, and Caleb Brown. It's a versatile class, even though they're all similar in stature. But what Kojo Antwi gives you, I think it's just more strength and immediate explosion. Not that the other guys don't also have the ability to go 0 to 60 immediately.
Yeah, I did our radio show on Monday with my colleague Dave Biddle on Bucknuts, and I said it's as if Brian Hartline was just sitting back and watching Larry Johnson get one of the best players overall in the country and said, I see your 5-star defensive end from the West Coast, and I raise you a 4-star wideout from the SEC country in Georgia. And it's like, these guys just go back and forth. I mean, that's all it is. And I'm joking, of course, because it's not as easy as I'm making it out to be. But they're getting 4 wide receivers in this class with Caleb Burton, Caleb Brown, Keon Grays, and Kojo Antwi. And at a time when they needed to replenish, crazy as it sounds, the numbers there, they took 3 this past year with Buka, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jaden Ballard from Massillon. And so they needed to replenish the numbers there because they've had a couple of defections with Mookie Cooper going, to Missouri, and Jamison Williams going to Alabama. They lost, obviously, doesn't sound like a couple of the upperclassmen, Gardner and Jalen Harris will be with the team this year. So not that, these guys, these four guys account for that because, they wouldn't be on the same team together. But at any rate, they needed to replenish a few numbers here at wide receiver, and Brian Hartline's done that. And you got to like the skill set of all these guys and the ability to come in and kind of grow into the position, because you got to think Ibuka and Harrison and Jackson Smith-Njigba right now are the future at that position, and Julian Fleming as well once he gets healthy. So these guys have a chance to come in, learn behind those guys who are going to be, as good as there are in college football once Olave and Wilson clear out. So, the sky's the limit, and you're going to have great quarterbacks throwing them the football. Who wouldn't want to play with the best quarterbacks in the country, with Stroud and Miller, McCord, and Quinn Ewers coming in? So, again, this is just something that just perpetuates itself one after another, and there is no end in sight.
As we
look at 23 shaping up with guys like Carnell Tate and some others that
definitely
just seem to be just a matter of time. I think that you could talk to some Notre Dame people who say, oh, not so fast on Tate and some of these other guys, but I'm not betting against Brian Hartline. Are you?
Antwi, 44 catches this past season, 795 yards, 9 touchdowns, coming off a sophomore campaign of 48 catches, 679, 6 touchdowns.